everyone. Welcome to Pigskin Report podcast number 89, brought to you by
San Diego Strike Force.
My name is Paul. On the other side of the desk is the star of the podcast, Mr. Bert Grossman. And Bert, would you like to introduce our very special guest?
I thought you would, since you're his biggest fan. I was going to give you the honor.
Well, I actually covered this man during his days here. You know, I was actually a Cub reporter back in the day.
You're a fanboy.
I remember doing
today.
a live shot with our guest, Eric Weddle. By the way, happy Tuesday to Eric. I remember we were doing a live shot for the ballpark, and I introduced you as because you had the long beard going. I go, from Amish land or something like that. And I remember we had some fun.
Sounds about right.
Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Amazing. I mean, we're in San Diego, so can't get much better than that.
Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about RB, but the news of the morning, as it related to our morning show, was a tweet from, I think it was Rich Eisen or somebody of his ilk, saying that Phillip Rivers was contemplating a return to the NFL. Is that even feasible?
I don't believe that for 1 second, but you know, whoever put that out there, maybe wanted to get a little stir of the media going, but I saw Phillip this past year. I went and saw one of my buddies who moved out there, and his son played for Phillip's team, and he was fully entrenched in coaching high school ball and trying to be great at it. So the thought of him trying to come out and try to play, I don't think that registered at all.
It just begs the question, because you were once retired and then came back to win a Super Bowl ring. And I always said if I ever got a chance to talk to you, I was going to ask you, were you still grinding every day in the weight room? Were you still working out, or are you just that good that you could get off your sofa and go play tackle football?
I think it was a little bit of both. I'm not going to shortchange myself, but I work out. When you retire, you working out is who you are. It's who you become. You set a routine for yourself, and so I worked out every day just so I would feel better. I'd be a better husband, better father. Wouldn't be in so much pain every single day, and that was the extent. I lost probably 15 pounds since my playing days 2 years prior. And honestly, it was a lot to make that decision to go back, because of I wasn't in football shape. I didn't have the muscle. I hadn't been working. I hadn't been practicing. But life's about opportunity and taking that leap of faith, in a sense. And sometimes you just got to go do it and see what happens.
So Eric, I'm always, there's two different kinds of players. I play for money. You play for legacy. You could tell. Did you ever have that? I'm 2 years off. If I go out here at the biggest game, everybody watches the playoff Super Bowl. It's not happening. Is that going to just affect my legacy, and everybody's going to remember me looking like a fool? Did that ever cross your mind?
100%. 100%. When Raheem called me, I had just got done interviewing with Tracy Stowe, our athletic director at RB, about the head coaching position, and kind of just shoring up loose ends and seeing if that was going to be the direction both for the school and for myself. And the meeting went great. I have a missed call and a text from Raheem, and I hadn't talked to Raheem in a few months. I don't talk to him like I do or did with Coach McVay. Like, him and I are very close, but I call him and he just throws out this crazy idea of me coming back and helping them out. And I didn't realize they had lost both safeties that last game of the year. I thought they only lost one, and it was the thought, you have a standard for yourself, and how you play, how you treat people, how you work, how you conduct yourself. And that was definitely in the back of my mind. You never want to go out there and the last vision people see of you is making a fool of yourself. and that was definitely in the back of my mind. And obviously, long story short, I decided to go take the chance, and it worked out well.
So tell me, you played like 12, 13 years, then another 2 years off, then go back. What's the difference between playing 4 games after that as opposed to 4 games your rookie year physically the following week?
Oh my gosh. Well, a ruptured pec would be one. I didn't have one surgery my entire 13 years before I ruptured my pec in the Super Bowl, and then 3 days later I had surgery on it, and that you just, I always appreciated the grind. I appreciated the work, the sacrifice, everything football entails. And the reason I retired was I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I was tired of the pain. I was tired of being away from my kids. I felt individually and collectively as a team like I did as much as I could. I gave it my all every single day, and I was fully content on the next step. And I was happy and very motivated for the next gig. Coaching my son in his youth sports and being around the kids and have nothing revolved around me was a weight off everybody's shoulders, not just mine.
Right.
When you're a professional athlete, you can't just go on vacation. You can't just we're going to go see the family. Like everything is revolved around you. Is there a weight room? Is there a field? How can I get my training in? What kind of food's going to be there? Like it just consumes you and your family and your kids. And it was refreshing to finally not have that. And so that and all that, yes, it's a huge difference. Body wasn't ready. I think of the total 4 games plus, 10 to 12 practices I had through that 5-week stint. I think I went 100%, maybe 3 or 4 times, and each time I either pulled a hamstring or a groin, and that just tells you like you just do whatever you can to make it work in the moment.
Well, just out of curiosity, because if I owned one, I don't think you could take it off my hand. How often do you look at that ring? How often do you wear it?
I had the Lombardi out. Like as a player, you can purchase the replica. Obviously it's not solid and this and that, but that's always out. I see it every day. I don't have the ring out much. It's a lot to wear. It's definitely a conversation setting. So if you're not ready to talk a lot and show it off when you're going out, then don't wear it. But I wear it when I go out, and I want people to see it. I want people to try it on. People are like, "What are you doing? Why are you letting people?" I'm like, "Listen, like when I went back, it was the first time in my career. Like I always know I had support, right? But I even felt like the haters and the people that didn't like me were pulling for me, right? Like from California to San Diego to Utah to Baltimore, everyone that came across me, whether they liked me or not, was kind of like pulling for this story. And I felt it. I felt the energy. I felt the love. And it's almost like a lot of people had a hand in this. And I want people to share it. If I'm out and about and I have it on, feel free to come on up and try it on, because it's definitely an amazing ring, and it's a cool accomplishment that a lot of people had an involvement with.
Have you ever tried one on?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that because my cousin played for the Steelers and he got like 4 Super Bowl rings. And back then in the 70s, they were like a class ring.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're an understated guy, background excluded. Where would you? I mean, they're like the size of a shoebox with diamonds now. Where would you wear that out now?
Date nights for my wife and I are Mondays, and even then we're kind of low key. We'll probably just, if we are able to go out, we usually just go to somewhere local in Poway or RB. But any like charity event, I'll wear it, or speaking engagement, I'll wear it. But outside of that, it's, if I have a bunch of people over a party, I'll have it out so people can see it and we'll wear it and take pictures with it, because it is, when you think back as a kid, or if you had the opportunity to see someone with a Super Bowl ring, like, of course you'd be geeked out of your mind to go see it and want to like look at it. So I try to put myself in those positions of, what would kids do if they had a chance to see it?
Well, I know a group of kids that will want to see it, because I think it's part of the message you're now is teaching. This is how stupid I am. I thought, why would he wear a Broncos hat for this interview?
I thought that too when you started. I actually thought the same thing. I'm like, why
that's
do you wear
how
a Broncos
dumb I
hat?
am, Eric. But now you are now you were a role model even before you took this gig. But now you're an official role model. You have a title. Could you talk a little bit about how, not getting off the ring, but still your career is like a beacon for these young people who are. You have an instant credibility when you step on a football field to teach, do you not?
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for myself to give back and to, you play a long time, and you're fortunate to come across amazing teachers, friends, coaches that inspired you, motivated you, taught you the game. And now it is my time to give back and to relay that information and messages that helped me along the way in 20 plus years of football, not even counting youth. So that's what I'm excited for. I mean, when I was growing up, I wanted to teach and coach high school football, and I got my degree in special education, mild to moderate disabilities. So to have it come full circle for me and have this chance to coach high school football, which was always the standard that I wanted to do, that was the goal, go to school, go to college, and coach high school football. So to have that opportunity now with Coach McCoy stepping down, who's still be on staff, who I am so lucky to have. Yes. And fortunate. And gosh, I mean, to think of starting a program from scratch would be a tall task. And I would do it, and I could do it. My wife would not allow me to do it because the amount of time and effort goes into it, and away from your family, like there's just no way. So I'm in a great situation where I could just bring my personality, bring the things that I've learned, and kind of bring my personality to the boys, and to show them how to be a pro and how to treat people right and how to be great every single day. I mean, that's who I am to a core. I'm trying to be my very best, whether it's at home with my kids, whether it's being a husband, whether it's being out in the community, being a coach, being a friend. That is the standard in whatever we do. And that is my expectation for my boys each and every single day, that we're making a difference for a positive, and understanding that when we get in the real world, that we're the future leaders of the community.
You know, I remember you always promising that you were going to shave your beard when you won the Super Bowl, which you never did. So is the CIF, you win the CIF this year, are you shaving the beard, or we believe in that, or no?
You know, I guess I'll leave that up to my boys, and a challenge set. I love challenges and competition. So whatever, if the opportunity arises, listen, I'll do anything for my kids, the boys, meaning the football team. So, hey, if the beard needs to go for a CIF ship, I'll do it right now.
You know, Eric, I don't know if I'd even recognize you now.
I wouldn't either.
I bet you could walk past me on the street, and I only know you with the beard.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time I had a clean shave, like actually shaved my face. So I don't ever see that. I mean, I'll always have a 9 o'clock shadow beard. But it's just, it kind of becomes who you are, and I enjoy it. When I get tired of it, I'll just wake up one morning and it'll be gone. That's how I kind of am. I make a decision, I go for it, and I don't ever look back. I don't live with regrets. I live in the now. I live in the moment, like I hope everyone should be. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, so let's try to be great at whatever we're doing.
Do you anticipate, I guess, we always have to be on the sidelines of the game, and I always feel bad for the coaches because you get the parents that give the standard adjustment for defense hit somebody. I mean, with your background and your resume, do you anticipate any hit somebody or make some adjustments, coach, hit somebody? Do you anticipate any of that from the stands, just from your resume?
No way.
Obviously not from my resume, but I do. Listen, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect by any means. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make a bad call. And I try to tell my boys this every day. Listen, I made mistakes. I gave up touchdowns. I missed tackles. That's football. It's how do we recover? How do you get back up? How do you go mindset that you're going to go from the next play, completely wash away the previous play, the previous anything that happened negatively, and how are you going to channel that injury to the next play? And listen, parents have the right to opinion. Am I going to listen? Probably not, but they have a right to that. And but at the end of the day, I'm going to give everything I have to these boys. I think we'll be the most prepared team out there, both on the field and mentally, talking X's and O's, talking strategy, talking situational football, like everything that entails for a Friday night. But at the end of the day, I'm going to make a bad call, and hopefully my players make me right. But if they don't, I'll be the first one to man up and say, it was my bad. I didn't do a good enough job, and I'll try harder. Never will be the player's fault.
Up in that neck of the woods now, we suddenly have the emergence of two coaches, both owning Super Bowl rings, both young, both have the cachet of the NFL, and
Nick Barnett.
Yeah, we had Nick on, I think 2 weeks ago, and he made it clear that while he's good friends with you, he does feel he's the superior coach. Tell us about that rivalry, because now that part of the world suddenly has two interesting storylines in San Diego.
Yeah, I think it's incredible for the city, for both schools, for the boys, like really for the youth, to have the opportunity to be coached by two great guys. I mean, I think of myself as someone with values and wanting to help out and change, and I think Nick is in the same background. So I think it's awesome for that. Rivalry, I don't really waste time on other people or other programs, quite honestly. So I'm focused on me and what I got to do here, and everything else will happen when the time comes. But the rivalry, I don't know. If he's talking about youth, I mean, I could let him talk about youth. I'll focus on high school ball.
I think he was talking about youth, wasn't he? He was talking about the youth programs.
He's talking about overall everything.
He obviously he said it in jest.
I don't know. No, he's talking about everything. We could stack our pro careers, and if we want to get into all that. I don't think he wants to do that.
Oh, touche.
All right, I want to ask this, because you have a good relationship with Dean Spanos. It's well documented. What is? I mean,
of course, like I could call him right now. He'd answer, right?
I mean, before you came along, I think he hated me the most ever in the Chargers. So I appreciate that. But I guess I want to ask you, because when I got traded to the Eagles, and it was such a difference in the way they treat players, the way they treat your family. I mean, everything they do was night and day. And I mean, you're at the Chargers, so long, 10 years, 8, 9 years. Was that a shock to you, or was it better at Baltimore as far as the treatment? Was it a shock to you that they actually do things different? Did you think everybody did it like the Chargers?
Yeah, it was eye-opening, and you don't know what you don't know until you experience something else. And obviously it's been documented. I think when I think back about my Charger days, it was an amazing run. Obviously, new management came in and they wanted me out and yada yada yada. But I think really why they wanted me out so bad was I was like the lone spokesman of them being against moving to LA. It was like, I was one of the few guys to actually say, like, no, I don't want to go there. I don't think this is a good idea. And I think they were just like, listen, we need to get this guy out because he does have a following of like 20 people that may rise up against us. But you went to Baltimore. You got your owner there, retained Steve Bisciotti. I could literally, this tells you a lot about Steve Bisciotti. I could call him right now. He'd probably answer. And in training camp, he comes, he lives in Florida most of the year, but in training camp, he's there every day. He has his golf cart. And I'm in middle of training camp. This is my first year there. And I'm still a new guy. I've been there all off-season training and whatnot, but I'm still there. And we're in mid-practice. And right before a play, I look over, and I see my 4 kids driving in his golf cart around the fields. And I'm just like, wait, what is going on right now? Seriously, taken back. But Baltimore is a family. Gosh, I mean, the amount of help we had for my wife, my kids, schools, just anything and everything, they went above and beyond. And some organizations are like that, some aren't. And I'm not saying that San Diego isn't like that now. Maybe they've gotten better and they've learned, but it just, there's the top 6 to 8 organizations in the league, and there's reasons why they are, and there's reasons why guys want to go play for them because they're real, they're honest, they go out of their way year in and year out, not just to get players, but to make accommodations for you, facility-wise, food, travel, taking care, making sure your spouses are able to get into the stadium, right? Like they have a certain family access, they have a kids daycare for you, like. those things that you just don't think about, that never was in San Diego, that you experienced in Baltimore and in LA, that was an eye opener. And, lo and behold,
All right, would it upset you if I said, but at the end of the day, and listen, I followed your career as closely as anybody. At the end of the day, to me, Eric Weddle is still a San Diego Charger. Does that peeve you, or does that piss you off?
No. Listen, people get it so twisted, right? Like, I loved every second I was there until my last year and a half, where I didn't want to play football anymore. Where you get lied, you get your name smeared, you get you make people that you were close with in the building don't even talk to you anymore, right? Like, those things matter when you're a guy that values relationships, that you try to do everything right. I'm not perfect, but I make mistakes, but relationship-wise, I'm going to give you everything I have. And then to have everybody turn their back on me was hard. But for the fans, for the city, I live in San Diego. There's a reason why I love San Diego. I love playing for the city of San Diego. They'll never be the LA Chargers. They'll be San Diego Chargers till when I'm not here anymore. So when you say Eric Weddle, San Diego Chargers, yeah, like, I lighten up. I smile to that. Now, when you talk about management, you talk about other things, me and San Diego don't coexist. I mean, LA Chargers don't coexist. Like, it's just, it's not going to happen, because I'm a man of integrity and character and accountability. And what they did to me, nobody should do to them. And it could have easily been addressed if they just communicated and were honest up front. Hey, we don't want you anymore. Instead of trying to play these little weasel games. Like, we're all adults here. Just act like an adult. And that's always been the issue with them, counting not just me, but the ex-Chargers that went to other places.
Yeah, I mean, in the salary cap era of football, a lot of promises end up getting broken, I bet. I bet your story, while a painful one, is not a rare one. I mean, I think every
there's a difference, like, obviously contracts and this and that, and what you say, there's a difference from broken promises where there's no communication, and a broken promise where, hey, I'll give you a perfect example of the difference from San Diego and Baltimore. I played 3 years in Baltimore. Eric DeCosta takes over as GM. I have a great relationship with him. He calls me up after the season and he says, Eric, hey, I think we may, if we bring you back, you're going to have to maybe take a pay cut to come back. And at the time I was making, I think, $5.5 million. I said, there's probably 30 other people that need to take a pay cut before me. And he said, well, we're looking to get younger, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, I respect that. I don't think it's the right decision, but at least you were honest with me and communicated with me and told me what you felt as running the team.
Right.
Now, I may not agree with you, but at least I respect you. And listen, I could call Eric DeCosta right now, and we still talk. I still have done some work with him with scouting. It's because of that communication. That's all.
Understand. Hey, along the way, you've played this game for your life. Who are the? I know Tristan McCoy is going to have some influence because he was at the program that you're now taking over.
Of course.
But other coaches, when you look back, go take us all the way back. Who are the people that influence how you're going to do this? X and O's or teaching wise or whatever.
Yeah, that's great. Shoot, I mean, I'll go back to college with Coach Whittingham, and just his even keel and his consistency over the course of 2 decades of being a D coordinator and now a head coach, going on, I think, 19 years, and the success and the change, the landscape of these players. And, it's a different ballgame than what I was going through in high school, than what these kids are going through in high school. So you have to adapt. You have to be able to learn. You have to be able to listen, right? And have the humility that you don't have all the answers, and being able to understand that and take that approach. So I say Coach Witt, I think in the NFL, I mean, I could every defense coordinator I took little bits and pieces of. I think from the head coaching standpoint and a leadership standpoint, I think Coach Harbaugh and Coach McVay, still close with both of them, still reach out when I think of them or have questions, right? Like, just as leaders of men and how to operate different things. And, just the different variables that a head coach has to have, and I learned a lot from those guys. And I think within my staff, I got amazing individuals that have coached a lot of football, have a lot of experience, and know a lot about the game, know a lot about high school, know a lot about high school football. So I'm in a very advantageous position with Coach McCoy on staff. Obviously, getting Scott Coates, who was originally coached in the Bay Area for a number of years, was a head coach up there, then coached at Poway, then took time away. He's actually coached with me for 2 years, the last 2 years on my staff, and we have just connected, and I've learned so much from him. So when I say it's not about me, it's always about the players. And even within my staff, the first thing I told them, I said, listen, this is about us. Freshman, JV, varsity, we're in this together. We're all going to have roles. I want input. I want to challenge you guys. I want to teach you what I know, and I want to learn what you guys know at this level, right? Of what works with the boys, what doesn't work, what has been successful, what does. I have all these great ideas and great thoughts and this and that, but maybe none of it works, right? Maybe a lot of it will work, but it's a group effort. And I think to empower your assistants, to empower your players is something that brings something special when you're able to do that.
Can you do me a favor? Because you and Nick Barnett I live down south, and now you guys have opened this Pandora's box of everybody down south thinks Tony Jefferson is going to come back to Eastlake and coach. Can you make that happen?
He's actually going to be my safeties coach here in a little bit whenever he retires, because he just bought a house up by us. So
it's not going to happen?
Like my best friend. So sorry, Eastlake. Man. Sorry down there. That's my guy. He's gonna be with us. Sorry.
All right. Just from that, you're gonna get more hate reaction than when you picked. When you picked the Bills over Cincinnati. You're gonna get more hate reaction for that.
Hey, can I ask one X and O's question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there anything in the game going on right now from the defensive side of the ball that's like, what's the cutting edge? I read a lot of football strategies books about how one offense then begats a defense, and then that changes the offense, and over the course of the history of football, what's going on now at either at the collegiate or the NFL game that's you're looking at and say, whoa, I haven't seen that before. What's going on, strategy wise? Who's out there that's cutting edge? Like everyone says,
I wouldn't say there's. Go ahead.
No, is Flores the guy? Who's the guy now? Who's the guru?
Flores?
Brian Flores is now the defensive coordinator for the Vikings. He's supposedly.
That's because you're a Vikings fan.
The old Dolphins coach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would say the biggest thing, the adjustment I had from the NFL is just the field design is different, from the hashes. So the game is different from the NFL and the college and high school because of those hashes. So it becomes definitely a field and boundary type game a lot of these times. And the tempo, a lot of these colleges want to run like 8,000 plays and as quick as possible. And it becomes a dummied down offense, and is not as sophisticated and articulate as you do get in the NFL. So I would say those little nuances. I wouldn't say at the end of the day, you got to be able to win up front. You got to be able to run the football, stop the run, and create big plays, right? And not give up big plays. It's those two things, and everything in between. All the you're going to have these different formations. You're going to have different philosophies, this and that. At the end of the day, you got to be sound in what you do, right? And have answers for everything that the offense could entail, right? And offensively, have answers for the defense, right? If I'm not giving my offense an advantage pre-snap, every time they snap the ball feeling like we have an advantage, then I'm not doing a good enough job for them, and I should be fired, right? And that's my expectation on offense. And then defensively, being able to have an answer if they come out in 4x1, if they come out in a quad, if they come out in a diamond look, or if they come out with a tackle over, like being able to reshift our line and reset the front line. Those are the things that I've learned that'll be mandatory, right? Not wait after a game after we got gashed for 300 yards rushing because we couldn't get our set the front right. Like that stuff's already in place. So, again, there are things that will come up that I haven't seen, and I'm going to rely on my assistants to make sure that that adjustment in game won't be too dramatic that we can't overcome it and learn from it and be better from it.
All right, I got a question because when you're bobbing, I see the Utah thing back there. If you're showing you know what, you're at camp. You're going to show your team film of you playing. You picking Utah Air Force your senior year, or you picking the Super Bowl game?
Oh my gosh.
Because I played. We played in the '80s.
Yeah.
So when he played, like, what was it 2004
Yeah.
or something? I remember watching him, and he was playing both ways, and he had like 2 touchdowns, rushed for like 100 yards at Utah, and then had like 8,
He was
9
a
tackles.
5-tool player. That's why he got drafted as high as he did.
Yeah, but we never saw that in the 2000s. I'm saying in one game. Would you show that, or would you show the Super Bowl?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up. I've actually broken down that 4 playoff game, and then I have, I think, 7 Charger films that I've broken down defensively that will be running same verbiage. It's kind of cool. All the defensive coordinators I had over the course of my career, I basically each year I had a new notebook, and I would write down basically from scratch as if I was learning it for the first time, even though I may have known it. And I have all these notebooks and I have all these different verbiages. So I went through a year and a half ago and built my defense playbook on everything that I liked, and I threw out what I didn't like, and I changed things that I wanted to call it instead of what it was called. And so it's very cool for the boys to get up there, and I teach them a defensive concept in our front, in our blitz, and then the next slide, a play from our Charger days doing the exact same things is pretty cool, not just for the kids, but for my coaches to see how I want it to be ran, what are our rules, what are our checks. So I would probably say more of the pro film, because it translates to what we're doing both offensively and defensively.
So what do you do with the poor kid that you throw up that clip and it's Aaron Donald? And this is how you have to run it, and the poor kid in high school's got to look at Aaron Donald. What do you tell him?
I say go be great like AB. That's how I tell him.
All right.
You're watching the best to ever do it, so go try to be like him.
Well, we're going to wrap this up because we've just hit the 30-minute mark.
Oh, God, you're way over.
Man, time flies. We're having fun.
Well, I'm glad that you're having fun. Maybe we could do this again. We certainly want to make sure you show up at our gala in December as we invite all the coaches
Definitely.
too. But Eric, just because I'm looking at that room and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what does that jersey mean to him? What does that jersey mean to him?
Yes.
What's your favorite piece of? You probably don't have a favorite piece other than your ring, but what's your favorite piece of memorabilia that you have in your office?
You're looking at it.
Did we just lose him? Did my question just knock him off the air?
That Super Bowl jersey, I just that one up there. But those guys are all guys that I create relationships with, and those guys are all lasting friends that I have from playing in the NFL, and that's something that means the most to me. But people, you guys may have heard me say this before. No one's going to remember how many Pro Bowls, how many All Pros, how many touchdowns I scored, interceptions. They're going to remember if I was a good guy, right? That I held a standard. Was I accountable? Did I follow up with what I said? And that's what matters most to me, that the people in the back, the people that I created relationships throughout my career, that it still lasts and it still means something. And I hope to build these new relationships at the high school level with other coaches, with players that I can help along the way. And listen, this is San Diego football. Like, we're all in this together. I want every guy in every team to be great and to go on, and if we're fortunate enough to play at the next level, and if I can help in some way, like, shoot, just give me a call, man, because this is a home for us. This is great people, and you want to see great things happen to people and kids and the youth of San Diego for sure.
So I'm free to call you to get a quote when Tony takes the Eastlake job, correct?
Yes, you can listen. That would be incredible. He's, you know, he's much more. He's much more big-minded, big thinking. So I don't know. He may want to get back in the NFL management type stuff right out the gate.
He certainly could.
Yeah.
He's got. I think he's got big plans.
Yeah.
I don't know if high school is something he may do it on the side, and I don't know. Head coaching takes up a lot of time, so that's maybe why you maybe do it an assistant or just come when he wants. But he's a great dude, man.
Well, I think you've proven in this 30-plus minute conversation, you know, I had to roll my eyes when you said, oh, even people that were pulling against me in an earlier part, nobody was pulling against you because everybody loved having you on the team, and you were never the guy that we hated because you went somewhere else. We always, you are respected by everybody who's coming in your wake. So, Eric, thanks for doing this. We're going to call it in 3, 2, 1. Oh, Eric, we're going to post this some today, some tomorrow. It'll be blasted all over KUSI in the days to come. And I hope that you'll do it again in the not so distant future.
We'll get on, man. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys' time. And let's go San Diego football, man. Let's go.
This podcast is now over.